Hello everyone. Today we're going to finalize this NPC here that we're working on, and really good news. I was able to find, let me see here. I was able to find that option right there, lock object modes. So if you uncheck this was checked, then you can go between weight paint and pose mode. Okay, and I'm going to show that because we still need to kind of finalize our weights on this deer here. So I'm selected on the deer. I want to go to weight paint, and now, now we select the bones and change the bones to pose, and then I select on the mesh again and then back on a bone. So now I can just select through the bones and see the weights I have for this. Okay, and one of the things you really want to do once you get your weights in place is start moving the bones around and see how the weighting is affected. Now if you look, when I bring the deer's head back, these sets of vertices come very close together. So right there is an indicator that I need to just add in a little bit of weight here, just to kind of round this out. And then I could even go to the neck and add a little bit on these to round all this out. Right there. That looks better. Maybe a little bit more in here. Yeah, that looks better. And I always, when I select my bones, I always go into 1 or 3. So 1 or 3. And now let's, that looks pretty good. I don't think we're gonna be moving the head too far back unless the neck bone is moving. But you see on this side, I'll show you, in here, you can see it pulling down right now a little bit, which doesn't look terrible. But when we bring it back up, you can see it being pushed in. So that's pretty extreme pose, but we still don't want it that bad. So let's get something where we see the issues, and now we can come in and start removing some weight. So let's go to the neck, and we see how much the neck is influencing the bottom. So I want to take that away, or at least some of it away. Oops, that might have been a little too much. Ooh. What did it do? I went undo, and it undid my pose. Okay. So let's just try and be gentle. Okay. If you watch what I'm doing, the strength of this is 0.09 whatever in the center. If you click off center, then that's a less weight. So you have, even in your selection, you have like a range. Okay. I don't want to get rid of all of it, because this is a pretty extreme pose anyways. And I think I just want it like smooth. And that looks good to me. I don't see any issues there. Alt R to undo any rotations. Now let's see how this goes side to side. That's not bad. It's good. Another area in here, I'll show you the eyes. Like I said yesterday, with eyelids, I don't always just stick to a rotation scheme, because that never really ends up being all that nice. You really need bone translation. And then, so let's say I want this eye to close. So this is one of the tests you need to do when you have eyelids. So I'm going to hit G on the keyboard. I have a looking at it straight on, and then I can hit G with a side view and make that come up, and then maybe angle it a little bit like that. You really have to watch that it doesn't poke through. So that's pretty far down. I might, if I can angle this a little bit more, and then hit G and pull that out a little more. So that looks not bad. I did spend a little time and work on some of these weights, but this is really what you want to do when you're working with this eyelid. Pull it down into the pose that you want, and then even this lower lid is going to come out a little like that, and maybe rotate it a bit like that, and I can bring it down just like that. And I do have some overlap that I need to clean up. Okay, so right in here, this is all like overlapping way too much. Hopefully I can hit that edge. Oh, okay, not too much. Might have been a little too much, but I can add more in a little bit. It's the only thing, real gripe I have in weight painting, is like you gotta like hit a perfect angle on the point. Maybe, no. Well, you can. I will show you how to fine tune this too. And maybe I should see through. That doesn't really help me. So let's go here and go. I need to do this, yeah. Okay. So in this window, we can see each one of the weights. Okay. So right there, and if you select on them, you'll see each individual weight. So we can easily just watch that vert and move it down slightly. It might be too far. And then always normalize if you adjust these. And this one probably can come up. And another thing to note is you can only have 4 bones to each vertex in most games. So I don't need the jaw. And if they have 0, they won't really be counted. But it could be nice to clean all that up. Make that up a little. So you can go and seriously fine tune the shape. And you always want to do that in its most like extreme position. And remember, always don't forget to normalize. And then maybe this one could come down a little. Normalize. All right. That does not look bad at all. Let's get back out of that vertex mode. And let me take a good look at that. Looks really good. Maybe this little corner. Could fix that one vert right there. No. minimize that. Okay. So that's tweaking those eyelids a bit. I probably do have probably too much influence down here because this lower eyelid really isn't going to influence all this stuff. And let me just a little bit more. Yeah, that looks good. And of course I have this mirroring too, so everything I do on one side happens on the other side. And now that we can move all these bones around and select them, I can open like the mouth and take a good look at the tongue and the weights on the tongue. And of course, the other day when I figured all this stuff out, I went through and did some cleanup, obviously. I missed a few things. Doesn't look bad though. Get right in here. This could use a little. But when you select on these bones, it makes it really simple to rotate around it. And just in case somebody doesn't have, my settings are different. Let me show you real quick. Navigation. Orbit around selection. Make sure that is selected. And then hit save on your preferences. So you're orbiting around whatever you're selected on. So we have the mouth, and to reset bones again, Alt-R, Alt-R, and Alt-R, yeah. What else should we look at? The ears for sure. Okay, so let's see how these are bending. That does not look good. Okay, what do we want to do here? I want the head to influence all of this more. Okay, so let's just, this lower line, hit it really good. Okay. Now look at how nice and easy that is to rotate around. And I'm not actually on the head, rotating on the head there. But also, I think in Blender, it's it'll. I think in weight paint, it helps you rotate where you're selecting too. So let's see if that made it better. It's definitely better. I think I still need a little bit more in there though. Yeah, definitely. Do like 2.8 Blender. So yeah, and it was that option to lock in object mode. Maybe one more. I mean, it's such a obscure location to like have an option like that, and I don't like. That's the one thing I can say I don't like about the new Blender is that all that locking stuff. So to find that option really makes me happy. Okay. Hopefully that's all I need. I could probably go a little bit more. Maybe one row into here. I feel like I'm getting a little too heavy in here, but I don't think it looks good to have the ears bend into the head that much. Alright, let's see. I think we're good there, though. Yeah, I think we're good. You can do it a little bit, just not like it was. And then I want to just let's hit that right there. Definitely in here. All right. Now the end. Maybe. Don't tell me I'm gonna save. I thought I was crashing there. Huh? So I mean, it just doesn't let me hit it. Okay. Rotate it the other way. Maybe just a little. Okay. I'm not going to fuss with it too much there because we do not want this video to be an hour, right? So you just want to go through each one of your bones, though, rock them back and forth, see how close all the vertices come together, and kind of try and evenly space them out. So some of these bones can get a bit tricky. I don't think that looks too bad, though, actually. And then, but just go down the line. Now there is one thing I did want to show here, and it's not with weight painting. Okay, so let's go into object mode. Now as I look at these joints, now of course when you're doing the model you should always try and get this stuff done before you start rigging it, but it's not, you can still go in later and edit the mesh, because like this knee joint here, it just has this one line of edges for that bend. Now when I bend that bone, let's go back so I can show you. When I bend this bone here, yeah, that's the one, then it's going to stretch that and it's just not going to look good. Okay? So what you can do is go in and add in a little bit more geometry. The geometry on this deer is like ridiculously low, but I feel like I have enough detail. And what I'm going to use here to cut this in is going to be the knife tool. But I don't like selecting it there and using it. And it seems kind of wonky in 2.8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit K on the keyboard. Okay, that gives me this knife, and then I can cut in new geometry. Now I'm just going to do those two lines and then hit spacebar, and then I'm going to come around and meet it back up. So K again, there, 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 and then I'll end it so I can come back here and see how far I want to take that. I just want to take it one more, really. So K, and that's it. So I just added in new geometry. Now, of course, it didn't do it on the other side because I'm done like mirroring the mesh and everything, so I will have to go back and do that. But I should have an option. I should be mirroring already, so when I do cut in the same geometry, I have to do it exactly the same though. Okay, so let's go and do that. I think I'm starting back here with this. And go K. And then bam. Bam. And then I could probably hit all of this next one in one. So, bam. Okay, and now if I go into vertices, both sides should move the same. Give me my move. And that is not happening. Why is it not happening? Topology mirror. Do I have to turn that? I don't think I have to turn that on. Well, that kind of tells me something's different. It looks the same to me. Or what could be the problem is, anytime you cut in geometry, you should look at the individual parts and make sure. See, when a vertex is totally connected, then you'll see it's orange all the way on all four. If it's not orange, then you might have two different sets of vertices. And right there, that's it. So if I just grab this one and move it, see that? There's another vertex there. So I'll shift select that one, and then I'll go to vertex, merge vertices, last. Okay, now I don't need topology. Okay. Now if I select that, they shouldn't. Oh, why are you making me look bad? Okay, let me see here. Do I need topology on? Yeah, there it goes. Okay. So we just cut in some new geometry in this knee here. And I don't know if we want to do it somewhere else. Let's look at it. And now we can take a quick look at this knee and see kind of what I did there. See how much nicer that is? Just with one line cut in. So I'm not going to go through every part and kind of do that on this model, but I think that's a good example. And notice too that when I cut it in, it just kind of used the difference between these two vertices and created a new weight. Okay, and it did a decent job too. Alright, now what else do we need to know about this rig? I'm not going to get too much more into the weighting. I'll just kind of show off. I mean, you want to go bone by bone and start moving them and seeing where there are going to be problem issues, like in here. Probably need to add a little more. Oh, that was probably too far. But it doesn't look like undo works very well, so I'll just subtract a little. Okay, and then like here I could probably add a little here because this looks very spiky. Okay, it's a lot smoother, and this one goes in, so just a little bit. That looks pretty good. But my point is that Alt-R now, you want to go through each and every bone, even on the legs and around the butt here. Let's see how well that does. I could probably use more in here. Of course, there could be more work done on this. Alt-R. See how that should probably get more. It's like the meat of the leg. Just like that. Maybe a little more. All right. You could spend a lifetime on weights. Oh, see, this is what bugs me. For whatever reason, I just can't seem to hit that. Right there. Alright, I won't go through every single one. I think we have a decent enough set of weights here. But you really just want to go through, rock each bone. Try and do it in a perfect side view too. Now that one is just terrible. Look at that. Let's see. Am I adding? Okay. Alright, a little bit better, but add in a little there. Alright. Okay, I don't want to get too into this. Alright, so let's, I tabbed and edit. I think I just want to talk about a little bit of rig controls and animation, and then we're going to import this. Okay, so I'm in pose mode on the bone. See pose. And I want to go to bone constraints. And like if I try and grab this bone, it just doesn't do anything. Now Blender has some kind of automatic controls, auto IK. If you turn that on, it does a decent job with just regular auto. But there's where you run into issues because everything's IK'd to this. And now I can't even move this. Okay. So let's select all, Alt-R, and Alt-G. Okay. So what else I can do is there's also a simple setup for IK. Well, actually, I don't want to do it on that bone. Let's maybe do it on this bone. Inverse kinematics, and then you can choose a chain. So right now it's defaulting to this bone. But if I use the chain, I don't even have to add in target and pull. You can go, there are tutorials on YouTube for setting up really nice IK systems. Okay, I'm not going to do all of that. And I generally speaking, I do not. Sometimes with legs like this I do. But generally speaking, I do not because for game assets, a crazy complex control rig is not really needed. For like a deer or something like that, I might make 10, 15 animations. I could do that over a week's time. I don't need some crazy rig. The crazy rig doesn't help me make a better animation. It's all, the crazy rig is about time and speed, and most of that would be used in like a movie if you were making a movie, because there's a lot, the character will be doing tons of different movements, not just 12 animations. Okay, so that's my point about crazy control rigs. So this is a real simple setup here. So if I just change the chain here, okay, you can see there's this relationship line happening. And I don't want to go all the way to here probably. I probably want to end it here. Because just how it grabs, okay, and that shoulder moves, see? Now if I go one less, now that grabs a little differently, see? Now this is not great movement in here. I mean, most animals don't move like that. So you do have to kind of go and control it, but just that little bit kind of does help. So let's select all and Alt R. Okay. So on all of these, I will generally do that. Too far. I'll do it with this back one. Bam, bam, bam. Yep. And bam, bam, bam. Okay. And it works great for the tail. The simple IK. But I only want to bring it to there. See that? Okay. And it might be useful to do it on the head. Why not? What am I doing? There we go. So, just like that. Okay. Select all and Alt R. So that's a basic setup. We have our deer rigged and everything. I'll take away that wireframe. So we'll go into animation. And I kind of don't like the setup. And I'm not... I really don't like changing the default setups because I feel like that really hurts people. But I'm going to have to because this... I really hate this setup. So what do I want? I want the dope sheet. Dope sheet here. So that allows me to see all that. This I don't even need. Join that. And just give me my timeline here. Which kind of shows me a lot anyways. And I did kind of make a quick little animation. Now, right now, it says I'm in dope sheet. For an NPC character in with bones that's animated, you can have multi-animations in one FBX. Now, in order to do that, you have to change this to Action Editor. Okay, in here you can have lots of different animation. Okay, this is the first one that I'll do, and then I will. Well, I'll make another one here. Here we go. Do that and make a new one, and I have all the bones selected, so I'll hit I, lock rot. So just like that, but maybe I don't even want to start it that way. Maybe I want to start it with the head down. So like this, maybe go like this, like that, and I don't know, maybe move that. Now, notice I don't have, I forgot to turn that on, but we're in our pose. Let's hit select all, I, lock rot. That saves that pose. Then I can go into the action editor, select that, hit Shift D, and then, I don't know, 30 frames. Set this to 30, and I can scroll that out a little in this. So we have a basic pose. Now, one thing to note in Sansar, if you do not have any movement like this, Sansar won't recognize the animation. So you got to have some movement in it. So let's go like this. Now, I'm just making a pose because I don't want to make this video super long. But just something like that, that's enough to show, and you could even go even less than that, and maybe we even, I don't know, do the tail a little bit here. Alright, now just when I select the bone, I'm just hitting R, and that allows me. And I always, that's usually how I animate too. I'll use my view, whether it's a straight on, and do R, or I'll twist it to the side and do R. So I'll use my camera view to control how I'm rotating. All right, so we have a couple different animations in here. I want to name this one to like test pose. So now we have these two. One thing you always want to do when you want to save a pose in the action editor is make sure that is clicked or checked. And we'll do the same there. Okay. So now we have NPC character rigged, modeled. I don't have textures for it yet, but we don't have to do that for this video. And we can import it into Sansar and see how it works. Save this file and we'll just go to layout. We don't have to, but select the mesh, select the rig, go to file, export. Now this part is kind of important. Always choose selected object, always. Okay, check experimental. I don't know if you'll always have to check this, whatever. If you have textures already in here, you can choose copy and this, but it doesn't matter for us. Hopefully that doesn't screw it up. You don't need leaf bones. You don't need NLA strips. Okay, everything else you want. I'm going to save this as number 5, and then we're going to import this. Export, and I'll save it again just in case, and then we'll go to Sansar and import this. I hope this video is not too long. It should automatically log me in. Go to my test one. Oh, you guys are probably going to see some stuff you shouldn't be seeing in my test experience. But whatever. I'll just show you the deer. Okay, so we have some deer in here. A wolf, yeah. Why would you have deer if you didn't have a wolf? Oh, and there's Bignaria waking up. She makes it into every video, doesn't she? Good morning, Bignaria. He sent me a picture. Okay. Don't be distracted, right? So we're importing deer number 5. I don't have a collision for it, so you could upload a collision. And there's probably going to be some new collision stuff with the NPC API coming next week. I don't have any materials, so I'm not going to click materials. I'm just going to import this. Okay, it imported, gave me a little warning saying default materials because I don't have materials, of course. And there we go. And we can inspect this a little. Get rid of this. Open this up. And we have a rig animation there. Okay, so we should... let me get rid of some of these guys. You don't need to see them. Okay. Now we can just build. Well, actually, you know what? Test. I need a script because I'm going to show you guys. But I don't know if there's any real scripts out there that we might have to put one up on the marketplace. This right here. So drop that in. And then I'm going to build. Uploading. Visit. It is in there. Oh, I got to report. Debug. All right. Here we go. Sorry, everyone. Stupid debug settings. It's all Bicnari's fault. All right. Last try here. Control D. Give it a second. Yeah. Okay, so there we go. It reports back what animations are inside. Now we had that first one was action, and then we had test pose. Okay, and if in chat with this script, we just have this to test things. We might make this available, of course. I type in next and then 2. Is that 2? Next 1. There we go. There's the other animation. So I think that is the video. Have a good one, everyone.